amounts, possible tornado formation, or storm size or speed. Fugate recommends following local forecasts provided by the National Weather Service. Keith Peters reporting.
A federal appeals court panel has ruled Tennessee does not unconstitutionally discriminate against transgender people by not allowing them to change the sex designation on their birth certificates. Breaking news and analysis at Town Hall.
Is this the end?
Not yet. 1 minute.
Oh, okay.
Harris County Judge Lina Hidalgo says the county is seeking volunteers to help clean up storm debris after Hurricane Barry.
The need is enormous. It's very hot.
Good morning, Jack. Good morning, Chris.
People are starting to.
Hi, Linda.
Few days
Jack Coleman, that's an interesting
every day.
alien.
Households have one or multiple trees sitting on their homes with part of the trees inside their rooms, inside their bedrooms, inside their living rooms.
A federal judge in Kansas has refused to block the nationwide enforcement of a Biden administration rule requiring firearms dealers do a background check for buyers at gun shows. The ruling leaves Texas now as the only state so far where a legal challenge has proven successful. It came in a lawsuit brought by Kansas and 19 other states, along with 3 individual gun collectors and a Wichita, Kansas-based association for collectors. You'll find more of these stories at townhall.com.
Now.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and do not express the views of WVBF ownership or Hometown Talk Radio. Content aired on all programs are those of the host and their guests.
Here's that theme song. Good morning, everybody. Saturday, July the 13th, the day after my birthday. I had a birthday celebration with my family last night. First, I want to thank all the folks who wrote in and wished me a happy birthday and all those good wishes. That was really nice. Really appreciate it. You know, when you turn 39, you got to get those birthday wishes in. Yeah, right, 39. We got folks checking in already, but welcome to Cranberry Country Journal. And if you're catching us here on WVBF AM or FM, thanks for tuning in. Or maybe you're picking us up on your smartphone or your smart speakers. I feel really cool now when I just go, "Hey Alexa, put on WVBF." And so tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., "Hey Alexa, put on WVBF" on Sunday morning, and boom, Joey and Don Driscoll come on, and you can't beat that. It's easier. I feel like a real engineer sitting in my home. But if you're catching us through the internet, maybe it's WVBFradio.com or on our AM and FM dial, or maybe in living color from our plush but not overly ostentatious Taunton Federal Credit Union studio overlooking 32-acre campus. It's today is July 13th. It's 194th day of the year, and 171 days remain until the end of the year, and it's 164 days till Christmas. So get your Christmas shopping in. From our folks up north at the Yankee Publishing Company up in Dublin, New Hampshire, where they have the world's largest population because it's always doubling. But sorry, folks. Here's the daily calendar. And first of all, they have their question of the day. Here it is. How can I'm going to sound like a real professional announcer. Paul, how can I clean soap scum from my glass shower doors without harming the shine of the aluminum door frame? Well, I'm glad you asked, professional announcer Paul. Real simple, according to the good folks up at the Daily Calendar Yankee Publishing. Find an empty spray bottle and fill it with a solution of 1 part white vinegar and 10 parts water. What do they mean 10 parts water? Like 10 parts of water? I know what they mean. If you spray and wipe your doors every few days, you'll keep the scum under control and not harm your aluminum frame. It's good to know. The advice of the day, To err is human, to repent divine, to persist is devilish. The home hint of the day, again from our folks up north at the Yankee Publishing Company, and one of my favorite magazines. I was a subscriber for years for Yankee Magazine. Their home hint of the day: ceramic planters collect more heat than wooden ones, but they also subject the plant's roots to greater temperature fluctuations. So, for a more stable environment, choose wood. It will most often result in superior growth and flowering. And the word of the day is pogonip. Yep, it's the word. Pogonip is a meteorological term used to describe an uncommon occurrence, frozen fog. The word was coined by the Native Americans to describe the frozen fogs of the ice needles that occur in the mountain valleys of the western U.S. in December. And according to Indian tradition, breathing the fog is injurious to the lungs. And the puzzle of the day, I'm going to throw it out to Joey Driscoll, folks. Joe, here it is. What state is known as the Evergreen State?
Washington.
Gosh darn it, Joe, you got it. Joe, fantastic. Joe, let me get your mic. Yeah, we're up here. Washington. Folks, I did not rehearse that with Joey. I haven't seen Joe in over a week. I forgot what he looked like, but he got that. But anyway, speaking of Joey Driscoll, we got a great show for you today. The boys are back in town. The Driscoll boys are back in town. The boys of Sunday morning here on VBF. That can only mean the broadcasting duo of Middleborough and Review's very own Joey and Don Driscoll, heard Sundays at 7 a.m., the very famous father and son broadcasting duo. So tomorrow morning, get up with me at 7 a.m. I do. I check in at 7. I listen to Joey, listen to Don. I like when they mix it up, and Joey or Don will have a rant, and I love when they talk transportation because they know their transportation stuff. So we'll be talking a little transportation today, but I have a quiz for Joe and Don Driscoll, who will be our guests. I'm going to hold it off on them, but I'll give them a hint. It has to do with famous fathers and sons. So we will see how the Driscoll boys will do. But today is a very special day. Honest to goodness, you can Google this, folks. Today is National Paul Day. Yes, it's celebrated every year. I just found this out on July 13th. It shows our appreciation for everyone named Paul. So if you're named Paul, you know someone named Paul, if you know me, take this opportunity to honor them to yourself. Paul is a masculine name that's especially common in Christian countries, given the strong Christian heritage the name has in it. It's a derivative of Paulus. It's a Latin family name meaning humble. I'll be humble when I read this sentence. It's especially fitting for a Christian name. Paul is often described as a classic, wholesome, strong, and simple name. And I am classic, wholesome, and strong, folks. And as Don and Joe will tell you in a minute, I'm very simple. So the most well-known Paul, of course, was Paul the Apostle. But I'm going to put Joe and Don on right now before I do the big introduction. Can you name some famous Pauls besides me?
I had a good friend named Paul Lyons.
Paul Lyons,
yeah,
okay.
He passed away back in 2014. He was a really good friend, and how you say humble? Well, this gentleman was very humble. He was such a beautiful soul. I miss him so much.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And but Joey knows him too, and he actually gave Joey guitar lessons for a while, right, Joey?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
how old was he when he passed?
He was 49 when he passed.
Too young.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
And it's funny too. He was going through a brain cancer diagnosis.
Oh.
And but he didn't ever quit. He worked for me too, and I took him to Florida, but that's before he got sick. But then I took him to Mohegan Sun. I had a friend of mine who had Emperor tickets there, so they got me tickets to go see Black Sabbath. So I was able to take them to like the dining room, and have dinner and kind of wine and dine them. It was a great. That was the August before he passed away.
Yeah.
And he never ever said boo-hoo for me.
Yeah.
He never blamed anybody. He always smiled right to the end. And one thing I do remember about him, he passed away on the same day my father passed away. My father passed away in 2017, and Paul passed away, I think it was January 2nd, on January 2nd, 2014. But he was trying to learn a Led Zeppelin song right to the end, right? He did not. And last time I saw him, too, he was on his deathbed, and he couldn't talk. But everyone was coming in, crying and stuff like that. I walked in, look, I got some invoices I needed to do. Write that down. We got to head over to this guy's house, and we got to go talk to him, and I want you to go look at a job for me. So do that on Monday, all right? And then after that, we got to head down, and we got to look for some scrap yards, and write all that down in your book for me, because he worked for me, and he was Mr. Organized guy. So, and that's what I said to him last time I seen him. So, as you say, humble Paul. That's funny, because
He was humble.
He was a
Paul
good,
Lyons.
He was a great man. Yep.
It's a great memory to have of him.
Yeah, he was a.
How about? But let me go back to my question. Are any other Pauls in your lives, or how about some famous Pauls that you know of?
Paul McCartney.
I knew you had to say Paul McCartney. Yeah, Joe, give us a Paul in the sports world, because you're a sports fanatic.
Paul George.
Paul George. Wow. Come on, some more famous actors.
We've got John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin, bass player from Zeppelin.
I knew John was going to say that. So Paul Newman.
Paul Newman.
Paul Simon.
You know my favorite movie? One of his last movies that Paul Newman did, and it's a beautiful movie. It's called As Good as It Gets. It's opposite Jessica Tandy. Takes place in Bath, New York, like an old. I know you like going up to New York, and sometimes the towns are quaint up there. They got a certain charm to them, and it came out in '94. But it was Jessica Tandy's last movie, and Paul Newman played Donald Sullivan. And have you ever seen that movie? Nobody.
No, but I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Anything with Paul Newman is good with me. But Paul Newman was my wife's favorite actor.
Not as good as it gets. It's I'm sorry. Nobody's Fool.
Okay. I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone was in it.
Well, Paul Newman was in some great movies. I still remember. Gosh, now the name escapes me. He played the attorney. It was in Boston, and they were taking on the Catholic Church at the time. Just a great movie, and Paul Newman was just a great actor. But Paul Newman, folks, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. He opposite Elizabeth Taylor, and he was nominated for an Academy Award Day. So today is National Paul Day. What's Paul short for? Paul is derived from the Roman family name Paulus or Paulius. Is Paul an Irish name? No, it's not common, believe it or not, in Ireland. Can Paul be a girl's name? If it's the female version of Paul, is Paula. And here are some National Paul Day activities, folks. If you're wondering, how the heck can I celebrate that? Take your friend Paul to dinner. Take your friend Paul out to eat to celebrate this special day. He'll appreciate the gesture. You can listen to Simon & Garfunkel or the Beatles. Both of these popular bands have members named Paul. And you can create a playlist, or how about host a party if your name is Paul? See how many Pauls that you can invite. And lastly, on this National Paul Day, why do we love Paul Day? Well, today honors Paul, National Paul Day. It's dedicated to all the Pauls in the world. It's great to have a day that is solely for you. Number two, the history behind the name is interesting, from saints to the Beatles. And number three, we get to decide who to celebrate. So today is National Paul Day, and thank you for celebrating my name. Let me say hi to some folks who were checking in on our Facebook. Linda Coffrin and Chris Larrivee were number 1 and number 2. And that was them playing the Cranberry Country famous theme song, along with Joey Disco, who just tuned in, and you didn't see him, but he was playing banjo. And thank you, Joe and Chris and Linda Coffin from Stoughton and Chris Larrivee from Middleborough. Jack Coleman's checking in. He sends a waving alien to me. If you're on Facebook, you can see it. Jack's down in Florida. He spent over 30 years as Swamp Water Jack, a famous retired swamp water ranger. And when you talk to Jack, and we've had him on the show, and I'm going to have him on again, we talk gators and rescuing kids, and just some great stories, folks. Charlie Quintel. Hey, Charlie, how are you? Mr. Music Man in the New Bedford area. My big sister, Kim Linda Lazarowicz, says good morning and a happy birthday. Thank you, Linda. John Viola is watching. He also sends me a happy birthday wish. Boy, good guy, buddy. John Viola, thanks, John. Brian Williams is watching now. I know it's not Brian Williams from NBC News, but it's the other Brian Williams, folks. How are you, Brian? Let me see. John Viola said, hey, looks like you got grayer this year. Yeah, I did, John. It's coming with age. It's I worry about Don and Joe Driscoll, and I get grayer by the week. So, Angela, my cousin Angela Rudzik is watching. I don't know if Phil is watching, or husband. Chris Larrivee saying candies didn't burn down the house, did they? Candles didn't burn down the house, did they? Ho, ho, ho. You get it? So many candles, folks. Chris Larrivee had to call the fire department, so that's how many candles. So, let me see. Oh, cousin Angela saying hello from Angela, Danielle, and Sophie. They're at her house in Cape Cod. Enjoy your day. Tom Serignano, one of my favorite local authors. We've had him on the program, and I'm still waiting for his book to be made a movie. It's called The Constant Outsider, and it's about some interesting days with Whitey Bulger and busing in the disco area in South Boston. Tom was right in the middle of it, owning the Emerson gas station and auto body, and he tells a great story when he refused to fill up Whitey Bulger's car with gas during the gas crisis. And the next day, when he went back to his shop in Southie, the gas pumps were all knocked over. And Tom to this day remembers that guy who came in the day before and identified him as Whitey Bulger. David Whitney's checking in from Maine. He's with the Steppin' Out Band. David, thank you very much. My lovely and talented wife, Kate Lazarowicz, is watching with Charlie, my wonder dog boy, who's sitting at home by her side. Louis Rampino, great guitar man. Dave Whitney's reminding us. Good morning, Paul. He says he's going to be celebrating with 72 candles. Wow, David, if you light that cake with 72 candles, you better have the fire extinguisher with you. So, Steve DeDominici sending greetings from Florida. Brian Wilson, Williams says hello from Dayton, Ohio. Former Middleborough guy, but he's out there now. So, let me see. Yep, Phil Rudzik is also checking out the program. I better be on my best behavior then. Dee Dee Smith Beckwith. Dee Dee, who is down in Cape Cod, and during the middle of COVID, I opened my door one day, and there is this delicious cake. Dee Dee and her lovely sister Laura made a cake for me, and Dee Dee, anytime you want to drop off cake or brownies or something, I'll give you my new address anytime. I love that. Also checking in is my favorite nemesis. And let me say hello to Jim Rizzo. Hello, Rizzo. Janet Buckley's watching, the funniest MRI technician in the world. Mike Neese says happy birthday. Thank you. Jim Rizzo always has a dig. He says, good morning, Cranberry boy. And as I said before, Dee Dee Smith Beckwith is watching, and maybe she's got her husband Johnny watching too. So Well, we got a good show for you. And these two guys who are on every Sunday morning, they are Joey Driscoll and Don Driscoll. And get up early. It's radio worth listening at 7 a.m. on Sundays. Come on. You get up during the week early, you might as well get up tomorrow. You got to listen to them. You'll hear all kinds of stuff. It's the only broadcast I know that gives the weather forecast for two towns named Driscoll. Driscoll, Joey, what are those states? Driscoll?
North Dakota and Texas.
So if you're wondering, gee, I wonder what the weather's like down in Driscoll, North Dakota, or should I put my jacket as a jacket on when I'm heading down to Driscoll, Texas? You'll know tomorrow because you'll get the weather forecast. So Barbara Gibson is checking in, and all the folks checking in appreciate it, folks, on this July the 13th. Some birthdays we're celebrating. I'm going to give this one to Joey. Joey, because Joey knows the sports. Joe, if I say Anthony Spud Webb, it's his birthday. Who's Anthony Spud Webb?
I never heard of him, actually.
Oh, come on, Joe. Joe, I'm going to give it to your dad.
Never heard of him.
I don't. Me neither.
Spud Webb?
He's the sports guy in the
I know.
station. He doesn't know.
But he was 5'7", and he could dunk. He played, I don't know, let me see. He was an NBA guard. I forget what team he played for, but I remember Spud Webb. Cameron Crowe's birthday today. Okay, I'll give this one to your dad. Michael Spinks.
Boxer.
Yeah, Michael Spinks.
Heard
He
of
was
him.
the undisputed world light heavyweight in 83 through 85, and he was an Olympic gold middleweight, too. How about this one, guys? Cameron Crowe? Cameron Crowe.
Sounds like an actor. Is he an actor?
Yeah, he's a journalist, actor. He worked for I remember him writing for Rolling Stone. He wrote Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Yeah.
Cameron Crowe. And,
Yeah. He invented Jeff Spagoli, the character there.
And Ridgemont High, Spagoli, the kid who brought pizza to his class.
And Mr. Hand.
And Mr. Hand said, Spagoli, thanks for bringing that pizza in.
It's funny, Mr. Hand. I'm not sure who Mr. Hand is, but
Ray Walston.
well, he went on to
My favorite Martian.
He went to work on to Star Trek: Next Generation. He was Boothby.
Ah.
He was the caretaker at the Starfleet Academy, and Picard used to go to him for advice.
Well,
He
folks,
was
you are getting some great trivia stuff here from Don, so we are full of it today. Tony Kornheiser, come on.
No.
No? Oh, my gosh.
But that movie, that Paul Newman movie you were thinking about?
Yeah.
The Verdict,
The Verdict, yeah.
1982.
Tony Kornheiser, I watched Pardon the Interruption, his birthday. Richard Cheech Marion, Cheech and Chong. Harrison Ford turns 81 today. And speaking of, movie Star Wars and Indiana Jones and Blade Runner and Jim Roger McGuinn from The Birds. I remember him.
No
Born
one
in
sounds like him.
1942.
No one sounds like Roger McGuinn.
Yeah.
Playing.
Yep.
My favorite song that the Birds. I don't know too many Birds, but I fell in love with "Lover of the Bayou."
Yeah, Roger McGuinn,
Yep.
unique voice, unique sound. Some of the Birds, there was David Crosby, Chris Hillman. Oh, I can't think of the other guys, but they were part of that 60s. Patrick Stewart, Star Trek The Next Generation, Captain Picard. It's his birthday today, folks. He turns 83. And it was Julius Caesar's birthday. Now, I never sent him a card, but he was born a long time ago in Rome. So let me play a couple of spots. We'll be back with the Driscolls, folks. If you have a question for Don or Joe Driscoll, you can call me at 508-822-1106. I don't want to make Don and Joe sing the song, but it's 508-822-1106. We'll be back with Cranberry Country Journal. Stick around. We got a good show for you. And I'm going to play a little game with the Driscolls, folks. Stick around. Let's see how they know some of this trivia as we continue with Cranberry Country Journal. Saturday, July 13th, National Paul Day. We'll be right back.
January 2025, okay.
Travel fair
Credit Union's newest full-service
Hey,
location,
Joey, can we swap
43
chairs?
Street in
No.
Taunton, is now open. This is TFCU's fourth location, which includes its main office at
Still
14
recording.
Church Street in Taunton and branches in
No.
Middleborough and New
No, we
Bedford.
can't.
Taunton Federal Credit Union's been serving the city of communities since 1947. and
What
is
was that
committed
movie
to
that
offering extensive
Patrick
credit
Stewart
programs
and
for
William
services
Shatner were in?
specifically
Generations.
Generations.
And the Taunton Federal Credit Union is now available to anyone who lives, works, worships, or attends school in Bristol County.
That was a good one.
in Barnstable County,
That had a really good cast. They did a good job with the casting on that movie. Generations, that's a really good one.
Yeah, I don't like how Kirk went out, though.
Make your banking experience as easy as possible,
Yeah.
giving you convenient access
Yeah.
to manage your accounts on the go, all the while providing you with the latest and greatest.
And then they shelved the guy.
Stop in today and
He's
see
still
what
alive.
Taunton Federal Credit Union
He's
has
94.
for you.
Insurrection was interesting. The scene where the guy with the visor took off his visor and kind of
Sunday mornings from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m.
First Contact was better when on the board. That was the best. Well, that was the second best. They did 4 movies, and that was the best. That was really good.
Middleborough in review with Joey Driscoll.
Great acting by Patrick Stewart. Remember that movie? When he tried to give up the ship. And who's that? Audrey, Allie, Audrey, or whatever. But she played the character.
he's pretty good in X-Men too. Patrick Stewart, he was in the X-Men stuff.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Freshest ear of corn you'll enjoy all season. Need some inspiration? Map your fresh food adventure at eatlikealocal.ma.org.
Sponsored by Mass Farmers Markets.
I'm going to give it a Joey Driscoll countdown. 3, 2, 1, and we're back with Cranberry Country Journal on July 13th, National Fall Day. We're sitting here with 2 guys you can check out every Sunday morning. The Driscoll boys, they're back in town, but they're back every Sunday at 7 a.m., folks. Joe and Don Driscoll, and they are transportation fanatics. But I got a quiz for you guys. You guys ready? They are a great father and son radio broadcasting team. So I got some famous father and sons. So I'm going to list the father, and I'm going to ask you guys to see if you can come up with the name of their sons. Okay, guys?
I hope you give me an easy one.
Oh, they're all easy. They're all easy. Okay, here we go. I know Joe's going to get this one right away. Will Smith.
Jaden Smith.
Jaden Smith. He's got it right off the bat from the Karate Kid. Okay. Martin Sheen.
Charlie.
Charlie Sheen and
Emilio Estevez.
Emilio Estevez. Woo!
Okay, yeah, yes.
You guys
yeah.
are good. You guys are good.
Really good. 2 really good actors. Charlie Sheen. You know, his career kind of derailed a little bit. You know, in the 2000s. You know, but he did some good stuff in the 90s prior to his career derailing a little bit. There was a movie that he did, which was a sequel to All Dogs Go to Heaven. All Dogs Go to Heaven 2. The original was Burt Reynolds. And
it was Charlie Sheen?
Charlie Sheen did the second one, and he did a really good job in that
And
film.
what was the famous movie? The one that really, they say he earned his bones in acting. He was a stockbroker.
Was he in Red Dawn?
Wall Street.
Wall Street.
And Martin Sheen was in that movie with him, his father, and Michael Douglas.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of Douglas's famous father and son, the father is Kirk Douglas.
Michael
Douglas. Okay. Let me see. Oh, father and son. The famous father is James Brolin.
Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin.
Yep.
Yeah.
George W. Bush. Josh Brolin.
Joe, you're jumping ahead on me, Joe. Okay. All right. John Carradine.
John Carradine.
Yes.
I don't know his son's name.
Well, he's got some famous actors' sons. I'll give you a little hint. Grasshopper. If you can catch The Butch.
David?
Yes.
David Carradine, yeah,
yes. Come on, guys.
Kill Bill, right?
Yeah.
Kill
No,
Bill,
from
I
Kung Fu.
Kung Fu.
Yep.
I thought he was from Kill Bill.
No,
Well,
Kill
there
Bill
were-
came later.
Yeah,
We had
Kung
Keith
Fu.
Carradine and John Carradine and Robert Carradine.
Oh,
So,
yeah, I forgot
yeah.
about Keith. I didn't
Okay.
know his father, though.
Yeah.
I
Very famous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Famous actor. Here's the dad, James Caan.
Ooh, okay.
Son's very popular now.
Yeah, same name?
Oh, last name, yeah, Caan. Scott Caan.
No.
He's in
I did not hear.
one of the CSIs, and I can't
Oh,
think of the name.
okay.
Tom Hanks, famous father, son is an actor. Last
Another
name
one I don't
Hanks.
It's another one I don't know.
No, Colin Hanks.
No.
Okay.
Alright.
I got one, Paul.
Go ahead.
James Gandolfini.
Michael Gandolfini.
Yes.
His son who
I-
played the young Gandolfini in, was it Saints of Newark?
Yes.
I think it was it. Okay, let me continue. Henry Fonda, who was the famous son?
Oh, Peter Fonda.
Peter Fonda.
And then Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda. Yeah,
Yep.
we're doing sons. but
Okay, well.
Peter Fonda in the movie that was the one that made him the big star,
Easy Rider.
Easy Rider.
Opposite Jack Nicholson.
Yep, and
Dennis Hopper. Yep.
Okay, this one's a little tougher. We've got and folks, if you're just tuning in, it's we've got the father and son combo here on Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. on WVBF, AM and FM, and also live on Facebook too, Joe, right?
Yes.
Somebody hooks that up for everybody. Gary Busey, famous son actor.
No.
I don't know.
Jake Busey. Now, I'm not overly familiar with him, too, but more in the music industry than
No.
more than music, more than music than movies.
Mr. Joshua.
How about Julio Iglesias? Joey, come on, I'm expecting you. He's a young guy your age, a little older.
I don't know.
He married Buffy the Vampire.
Yeah. No.
Enrique Iglesias. There. All right. How about this one? Bob Dylan.
What's his name? He did One Headlight. That movie, the song One Headlight.
Really?
Yeah, they know that song One Headlight.
I briefly know
Jacob
it.
Dylan? No.
Yeah, Jacob
Jacob,
Dylan.
I think,
You're
yeah.
correct.
He had a song in the late '80s called One Headlight.
Yeah, he had a hit, actually, a couple of hits.
That was a hit. That was a
Still,
lot of airplay. I got one
Still
for you,
a lot of
Paul.
play.
Yeah,
Oh, no, wait. I'm
Okay.
asking the question.
Okay.
Hey, Don always tries to take over.
Well, I don't know.
Joe, how do you work with him?
I haven't heard the most important yet. I figured it to be. Is this like an alphabetical
This
order?
could be it, but how about Bruce Lee?
Brandon Lee.
Brandon.
Lee,
Brandon
yeah.
Lee.
Yeah, he was in the movie The Crow.
Yep.
Okay, come on, guys. You got to get this one. Two famous sons of the famous fathers, John Lennon.
Oh, Julian Lennon and Sean Lennon.
Very good. Julian and John Lennon. They got it. You can't get anything past the Driscoll boys, folks. All right. Lloyd Bridges, famous father. How about his famous sons? Both actors.
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges is one. Joe's got that one. Joe was showing up his dad today, folks. Come on, Don.
Who's the other one? Jeff Bridges and Jeff Bridges is the dude.
Yeah. What movie?
The Big Lebowski.
Big Lebowski.
I know he has another brother.
Bo Bridges.
Bo Bridges.
Bo
okay.
Bridges,
Right.
Okay. Carl Reiner.
Oh, Michael Ryan.
Michael Reiner. He's famous for what role?
Meathead.
Meathead in Archie Bunker there.
Yeah.
How about the famous dad is Jerry Stiller, the famous son?
Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller. Famous dad, and he just passed away. Donald Sutherland.
That's what I was looking for. Keith Sutherland.
Okay? Keith Sutherland. He's got another brother, too. I guess it's Joseph Sutherland. I'm not familiar with, but famous actor and host of the TV show years ago, Robin Thicke. Joe,
Alan Thicke.
Alan Thicke. Oh, Don got that one. Alan Thicke. Dick Van Dyke. His son. I'll give you some clues here, okay? Let me see. I listened to some of the shows. I got to look at him myself. He was in Diagnosis, Murder, Murder 101, Galactica, Airwolf. Some of the movies he was in, the Mr. Mom and Gunshot. I'm not familiar with that. And his son, famous actor, Barry Van Dyke, believe it or not. Barry Van Dyke.
He was in Galactica 80.
Let me see if it says the Galactica 1980 he was in. Don, you remembered that. You remember that. Okay. This is a tough one. I didn't know that until I did my research. Sean Connery.
Sean Connery?
Sean Connery, who famous son actor.
No.
He starred in the UK version, big hit series, Robin Hood, and Tommy's Honor was the movie. His name was Jason Connery, and I have to be honest, I didn't realize that one either. They got, well, I can't. Okay, you can guess by the name. The father is Nick Clooney.
George
Clooney. Yep. Ready? Another easy one. The father was Loudon Wainwright.
Wainwright. Loudon.
Well, actually, the son was named Loudon Wainwright too. He did. Loudon Wainwright did Dead Skunk in the Middle of the Road, and I can't think of his son's bit. But let's go back to names. Famous actor. He was an actor, and I'll give you the movies too. That this famous actor, his name is Tex Ritter.
John Ritter?
John Ritter, yeah. His dad was in High Noon and a bunch of movies. Died in 1974, and we know John Ritter died at an early age too. Also, I have a brother. He has a brother, Jason Ritter. I'm not familiar with, but he was seen in Matlock and also in the movie Freddy vs. Jason. Don, I know you had to see that one, no?
You know what? I lost it after the first one. I lost it on scary movies. I scared myself to death.
Yeah, I'm not big on scary movies.
No.
How about how about Dennis Quaid?
Dennis Quaid?
Yeah, that's the famous father.
Yeah, Dennis Quaid is
And I'll give you some hints for his famous son. He was he played a minor role in the Hunger Games, and he was in a movie called, it was an Amazon Prime Video called The Boys, and he was in Vinyl and Star Trek, Lower Deck 2020. I'm not familiar with
what Star Trek was he in?
It says Lower Decks 2020 for Star Trek. I don't know.
I'm not sure that is.
He was in the movie Scream. He played Richie Kirsch in the movie Scream. Yeah, Jack Quaid.
I don't know.
Quaid, yeah.
Jack Quaid, okay.
Jack Quaid.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let me see if I have any more here before. No, I won't give you that one. Oh, well, Alan Hale was the famous father.
Kevin? Are we talking
No.
movies? We're talking
movies, yeah.
we're talking
Well, Alan
movies.
Hale, Skipper.
Then Alan Hale was the father, same
Right,
name,
Skipper.
and his son was Skipper. Yep, Alan Hale
Okay.
Jr.
Oh!
Alan.
His father was Skipper.
Yeah.
Alan
father.
Hale played in so many westerns.
The father.
The
son?
the son too.
The son, yeah, I got him right here listed. But also some great movies. I run Periscope from '59. The West Side Story, Gilligan's Island.
West Side Story.
He was the famous one. So, all right, this one may have to go to Joe. Damon Wayans, famous father. The Wayman brothers. Oh,
I really don't know.
the TV show was in living color.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I remember watching that. That got Jim Carrey's career up and running.
Yep. Jim
Fire Marshal Bill.
Fire Marshal
Fire
Bill.
Marshal Bill, I
Yeah.
heard about that. Yes.
Yeah, it was really good.
There was Damon Wayans Jr.
Kean Wayans?
And Damon Wayans.
You can.
I don't have that one there.
No?
No. Joe, you brought up George Bush, the famous son. Is W. Yep, George W. Bush.
When he said that, it was Josh Brolin played George W. Bush.
Josh Brolin.
In W,
Yes.
I think it
In
was,
W.
right?
Yeah,
Yep.
in W.
In the movie W.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know if we have any more father-son stuff here, guys, but, it just made me think about it. I remember as a kid, always watching and even going to many times was the father-son baseball games. Do they still do that in Major League Baseball? Do you remember that, Don?
I remember that. I
Yeah.
remember going to a couple times with my
Yeah.
father, but
Yeah.
who knows? I mean, it's a different story now. It's not family friendly because of the price.
Yeah.
I'm just the corporate entity took over. The corporate beast took over, and I think they might have it over in Pawtucket, over in Worcester, the Woonsock and stuff.
Sox, yeah.
That's an affordable date if you think about it. But I mean,
But I don't know if they still have the father and son. Of course, Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
I'm
I
sure they
just
do.
came to my mind. I'll give you one more famous father and son. The famous father is come on, which get ready, Bob. They both have their hands on the buzzer, folks. We'll see who comes up with it quickly. Don or Joe Driscoll. Ready? Here we go. Here's the famous father, Bob Marley.
Ziggy Marley.
Ziggy.
And
There's another one.
no, that's
There's like- There's like three of them.
Yeah, he was the most famous one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dom DeLuise, famous son. He's the famous actor, but his son.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yeah.
know Dom always had a son.
Yeah, it's Peter Louise. I don't have any.
Dom
back.
DeLuise was awesome.
Yeah, the funny guy.
Oh, he's so funny, especially
Funny
in the
guy.
Cannonball Run movies.
Dom with Burt Reynolds. Yeah.
Mr.
Well, we've got Joe and Don Driscoll, folks. And again, tomorrow morning when you set your alarm for 5 minutes to 7, put on VBF and you hear Joe and Don as they do Middleborough in review, but they do a lot of cool stuff. Who's your guest for tomorrow?
I was
Joe?
going to plug it. We have Ed Miller.
Ed Miller is tomorrow, folks.
Yeah, Ed Miller. He has a show on noontime. Ed Miller and Bishop Tony Branch. It's called Stand Up Strong. It's a great anything about the Brockton area on political issues. Again, talk about a partnership. Talk about a team. I love those two together because they're just so they feed each other. And then the four it was about maybe 4 months ago. We were on their show, and I just love the chemistry between the four of us. It's awesome. And then Ed's going to be on at 7, and then we're going to be on Stand Up Strong at noontime tomorrow too.
So stick around, folks.
So,
This is the Joe and Don Driscoll weekend. They're on Cranberry Country Journal, Middleborough in Review, and Stand Up Strong. You can't get
And
enough
then
of them.
Joey has Middleborough Matters, and you're trying to get somebody to,
Yeah, I'm trying.
you're trying.
I'm trying right now. So
Yeah.
All right.
We'll
Well, let's
see.
talk transportation because you guys are transportation fanatics. I know you been on a lot of train rides, and you're even working on videos that you worked on, Sachem Rails, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, but let's talk about. I guess the big question is, at least in this area, is the South Coast Rail. Is it ever going to open, Don and Joey?
I think what they did, and they might throw us a surprise. I'm just guessing. Now they got a May 2025 opening date.
Next May.
Next May, yeah. But now that they've been testing the trains, and they're starting to run the speeds. I've been following that on YouTube. There's a lot of rail fan that they're running the test trains along the corridor, and now they started like in June. They run them at 20 miles an hour. Now they're starting to cook. Now they're starting to go 40, 45, 50. 79 mile an hour, I think, is the height you can go on that. So could be earlier. Who knows? I mean, I'm hoping it's earlier, but they're having problems in Taunton. They're waiting on elevator parts for the Taunton station because that's a big station. You need elevators there because that's where the trains are gonna divert in each different direction. So when the main line comes in, you got a Fall River train, you got a New Bedford. So there's going to be two platforms and
Where is the station? Whereabouts in Taunton?
it's a county road right off of 140 and 24.
Okay.
Over where the Purple Dinosaur used to be, if you're from Taunton.
Yep.
Right there.
A couple of restaurants area and
Yeah,
high schools there,
it's
too.
right near the exit there, almost across the street from the DPW, state of Massachusetts DPW.
But are these typical delays, Don, or what? I mean, this is a long time. I mean,
don't
when
know.
was the opening supposed to occur?
December 2023.
Yeah, and it's May 25 here.
Yeah.
I think every single transit project that's ever been in existence has not started has not been on time. You know,
Yeah.
either they have a delay or there's something going on.
I'm a firm believer, and I hate to say this, but I feel that public transportation is very necessary for our environment.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you do a 24/7? If it's such a crisis, if our environment's such a crisis, why can't they build these transit agencies, build the infrastructure faster, and get it up and running, and get it running good, and make sure it runs good? Because what happened is, I had a friend of mine who took the train from Middleborough to Quincy every day, and he worked in Quincy. And he lived in Wareham, so he drove up and he put his vehicle at the train station. But then when they started, the EPA started no idling rule, they were coming in with cold trains because they weren't running them overnight on the winter.
Yeah.
So they were all breaking down. So what happened is, I mean, you got to look at the big picture, I think, in my opinion, because, great, we don't want cars idling. I mean, I probably shut my vehicle off. I don't let it idle. But, I mean, sometimes you got to let the trains idle in the winter. It's just how it is. Mm-hmm. Because now what happens is they're breaking down and they're cold, people are not going to take the train. So you lose all those people. So that little bit of idling that they did maybe 4 months a year in the winter time or whatever, that they had to do to come in with a warm train and a successful train, they just lost how many thousands of people back on the highways. Because everyone's back on the highways.
Yeah.
Traffic's everywhere.
Yep.
Not many people are running the trains because there's a lot of, I mean, they're doing work and whatnot. But, I mean, it's you lost, you know, you might have lost 10,000. I'm only throwing this number up. You lose 10,000 people who want to ride because you didn't want to idle a train for 10 minutes or 15 minutes in the middle of the winter. It seems like they're great rules, but they just put these rules into effect and they don't think what the broader consequences is. Oh, this is the rule. You got to do it this way. Yeah, meanwhile, the trains are breaking down because diesels need to run. Anybody who knows diesels, they need to run, especially in the winter. They might have to run all night if it's 5 below. That's just how it is. But you got to get all those people off the road. You need to get all that carbon footprint reduced. It's only for a few months. So, you know, so that was the problem. And my friend stopped taking the train. He just drove in for the last 5 years before he retired. He was done.
And if that's indicative of the 10, 20, 30, 40, more and more folks will
You're talking one line.
stay away from it.
And you just hear delay after delay. I have a friend of mine who's on Facebook. His name's Paul, by the way. Another Paul.
Happy Paul.
Yeah, another Paul. Great guy. I know him from high school. We talk. You know, I see him, and he comes from Attleboro, and he's a problem almost every day on that train. On that train.
What are some of the problems?
Just being late, breakdowns, equipment breakdowns, delays. Because
There's always a delay.
Amtrak, because now that's the Northeast Corridor, so that's supposed to be our pride and joy. That's supposed to be our flagship line, okay? And now they're running old diesels under the wire. Why would you run diesels under the wire? Okay? They put in...
what do you mean under the wire, Don? Explain that.
Under the wire means they run the electric trains, okay? But now running diesels under that line, okay? And they didn't think about the future for TF Green and Wickford Junction, those stations in Rhode Island. There's no wire underneath that section where that comes in, okay? So now they got to put a wire up to run those stations, and there's no weekend service past Providence. Why? No weekend service to TF Green or TF Green Airport, which is supposed to be a connection hub.
Yeah.
Okay, but now, you want to...
So why isn't there service?
State of Rhode Island.
Yeah.
They're paying for it. They probably don't want to pay for it. There's not enough trains. They complain there's not enough people, but they don't have enough trains. Yeah. They don't run on weekends. So if you don't run 7 days a week, you're kind of blowing it.
Yeah.
It's perception. You have to sell it. You have to be a Guy Smiley. You have to sell your product to the people.
When the South Coast Rail comes in, are we going to have weekend service?
I think what they're saying is they got to start out weekend service to get it running.
Yeah.
And then they got to, I think there'll be weekend service. But I haven't seen the schedule. Yeah, there has to be weekend service.
Let's change this to direction a little bit positive. You two guys have been on a lot of different railroads and commuter rails. Tell me about some of your memorable train trips. Or what made it so memorable. Joe?
anything that's not here, for the most part.
Then where?
New York.
Yeah.
The Northeast Corridor is amazing. I do like the Middleborough Lakeville line. I really do. I think it's really nice. But really, outside of that, there has been a lot of issues with the MBTA.
Well, they're doing a
The
lot.
Blue Line is good too.
They're doing a lot of work. So what they're doing is they're shutting, the rail down. You have to get off the Braintree and take a shuttle buses and stuff because they're doing work like on a bridge in Dorchester.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now put it to you this way, okay? We did the Cape Flyer, and that one Cape Flyer was able to get through. One train a day. They do 3 trains, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
And then back. That train was able to get through, but the rest of the lines weren't. Okay?
Why?
I don't know. Maybe that was a priority train, but why? I mean, I know they're working over the tracks and things are going to be safety, but why are you shutting down? Why are you doing that? I mean, why isn't this a 24/7 situation? I already said that, but for me, I like CT Rail, Connecticut.
CT Rail's amazing. Yes.
We liked it a lot. There's 2 lines that run. There's 2 kinds of equipment that run CT Rail. You have the Amtrak.
Yeah.
They've been always running that line from Hartford to Springfield to New Haven.
Yeah.
But then the Valley Flyer goes up to Greenfield. And it's the Amtrak trains that run that far. And then state of Connecticut has their own equipment too that runs that same line, but they only go as far as Springfield.
Morgantown impressed me as well. Morgantown, West Virginia. They're people mover. Really impressed me.
It was a people mover out there. It was built in 1977.
What do you mean by a people mover, Joe and Don?
For the college, move students around the campus.
Yeah, well, it's like if you go to there's 5 stations. It's like, maybe it's 2 miles or 3 miles. It's PRT, they call it, Personal Rapid Transit. Okay? That was a big thing. Robert Byrd had a lot to do with having that built, old West Virginia senator back in the day. But what happens is if you go up to it and you can program where you want to go, meaning they're like little cube cars. They're about maybe the size of this room. Okay, and maybe 6 or 8 people come in.
Yeah.
And it comes to your station, and you can program where you want to go. So, if you want to go all the way to the end, which I think is Oak Street, there's like 5 stops, you can bypass all the stations. Yeah.
What was the cost? Remember the cost for that?
It was free when we were there.
Free.
Yeah. But I think the cost is minimal. It's students use it. It's really for West Virginia University.
Yeah.
So we're going to Pennsylvania next week. We're going to be about a week from today or Monday or whatever.
Week from less than a week from today.
Yeah.
But we'll be in Pennsylvania. So we're going to go over there. We're going to try to ride that again.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go to Pittsburgh and ride the light rail and maybe the rapid bus.
We're going to come back with Don and Joey Driscoll, folks. I'll ask him one more question as it comes to transportation. But catch them tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. on Middleborough in Review. And also, you can catch Joey on Middleborough Matters, and that's on Mondays at 11 a.m. here on WVBF. We'll be right back. A couple of spots as Cranberry Country Journal concludes right after this, so stay with us.
Yeah, Blue Line's good.
The
Middleborough Lakeville line moves. That's why I like it so much. It moves. There's never really any issues there.
Fitchburg line too is moving now.
Fitchburg line is pretty good too. But a lot of the lines just underwhelming.
Stations are too close together.
Underwhelming. The Downeaster was underwhelming. It was. other than Old Orchard Beach, that was very, very beautiful. The Downeaster was a little.
I don't know why they advertise it as a scenic train ride because it's really not.
Yeah.
It's just train.
Downeaster's a little. I was impressed with Pittsburgh. We didn't do any of the trains, but I was impressed with Pittsburgh. How they run their stuff too, and all the history around there. The trains and stuff.
Well, they got the inclines. They got 2 inclines there.
Yeah.
Now we're back with Cranberry Country Journal. I want to say thank you to Don and Joey Driscoll. We got about a minute. Most favorable ride you've had on a train and why?
My favorite ride is from Albany to New York, the Hudson River.
Yeah.
When you sit on that west side of the train and you're
Yeah.
heading south or you're heading, or north, you sit on that riverside. It's one of the most 2.5 hour breathtaking rides you could ever do. And
You
then,
still go over that old rusty bridge right over the. It's the Hudson, right? It's
called Spinel Dial or whatever. It's actually technically the Harlem River. It's on the and then in '94 they those trains used to terminate at over in Grand Central, but now they run the west side. Joey.
Joe, memorable.
The Connecticut stretch of the Northeast Corridor.
Yeah, what makes it good for you, Joe? It's so
Beautiful,
special.
beautiful views.
Yeah. And well, thank you guys for coming in on a Saturday. Maybe you can continue the transportation conversation tomorrow. Middleborough in Review, 7 a.m. with the famous, more famous than Kirk and Michael Douglas and the Marleys. It's the Driscolls, folks. Joe and Don Driscoll. Tomorrow at 7 a.m. and you catch Joey at 11 a.m. on Mondays for Middleborough Matters.
Thank you for having us, Paul.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you. In the meantime, I'm Paul Lazarovich. I'll see you back here next Saturday, the good Lord willing. Keep that Cranberry Country spirit in your heart. We'll see you back here next Saturday. Bye-bye.